At the turn of the 20th century, a young reporter, Napoleon Hill, was given an assignment to interview steel magnate Andrew Carnegie, a man who, despite being an immigrant born into poverty, had become one of the wealthiest people in history. During the fabled encounter, Carnegie asked Hill if he would be willing to dedicate his life to unearthing and documenting the secrets of the most successful people to ever live, then to share this formula with the world, to give everyone the opportunity to fulfill their dreams and achieve anything they so desire. The young reporter accepted Carnegie's challenge and began a 25-year journey that would lead him to interview many extraordinary people. In 1937, the results of this quest were immortalized in Think and Grow Rich. In it, Hill showed that those who succeed do so irrespective of their circumstance, that potential is not predicated on age, race, education, gender, finances, or any other perceived disadvantage. It ignited a flame of ambition and helped end the Great Depression. 100 million copies, and 80 years later, this book continues to inspire ordinary people to extraordinary achievement. It is the playbook through which countless entrepreneurs, innovators, and cultural icons unlock their potential, creating an alternate reality of abundance, purpose, and prosperity.
Thomas, why are you not in school? Your son is a genius. This school is too small for him and doesn't have enough good teachers for training him. Please teach him yourself. I'm gonna have you read to me today. So here you go. Remember where we left off? I think we were here. So start from there.
Miss Edison, your son is adult. He is mentally slow and unable to think clearly. We won't let him come to school anymore. Sincerely, Headmaster Jonas.
Every life has more than one potential reality. Every life. Could it really be true that the only difference between an ordinary life and the life of extraordinary fulfillment is the way we think?
A lot of people relate riches just to money. Riches take in everything in our life. It takes in our health, our relationships, with ourselves, with other people, as well as our ability to earn money. Money by itself is just an idea. Life should be a rich experience. It should never be shallow. Most people live like minnows in the shallows. They got to get out into the deep, and that's what Hill's material is designed to do.
The hardest thing to actually master is faith. Because faith is the piece that's going to give you the ability to continue through the highs and lows and not just achieve one single vision, but how to apply it to every aspect of your life. Because when you get to that level, you feel like you're manipulating reality.
I don't think there was a point along the way of my career where I wasn't seeing myself in a movie of where I was going to be a year out, 2 years out, 3 years out, and I saw it like it existed. You have to not only picture it, but picture it in living color and in great detail. And then, of course, the book teaches you if you could imagine it, you can accomplish it. And I found that to be entirely true. If I could imagine it, I always got it.
Think and Grow Rich is relevant because we are always going to have to rely, first and foremost, on our thoughts to be able to move anything in our world. So the concept itself is evergreen. It will last the ages.
Timeless principles will be with us in 10,000 years. You've got to know them and you've got to practice them. It's that simple.
Every one of us has inside of us, it's innate, it's in our DNA, the desire to do something big.
One thing I tell people is once you stay with it, stay with it long enough, when you break through and you finally make it, there's a release of this unbelievable power and new levels of power you break into just by staying with it.
Every adversity carries a seed of a greater good. Because as a blind person myself, I realized, okay, I got me one big seed of adversity here, and I need to find a greater good, a compensating balance.
Success is how you feel about yourself when you look in the mirror. It has nothing to do with what the reflection is. It's, are you contributing to society? Do you feel good about who you are and how you live your life?
So if you lived a normal life, what is a normal life? 74, 77 years on Earth? Do the calculus. That only equates to 30,000 days on Earth. Time is not running out, but your life is. You've been chosen, place your fingerprints on life, and make a difference right now. That's what it means to be wealthy.
To me, Think and Grow Rich are 3 words. Think means the mind, and that you need to use the mind to propel you on the path towards success. Grow means that you need to nourish it and constantly seek the growth and improvement of your mind. So the growth and improvement of your mind is what ultimately delivers the payoff, which is you become rich. So to be rich, to me, means control. You're in control of your life. Being able to do the work that I want to do, the way that I want to do it, when I want to do it, and to the level of excellence that I want to do it at. Living life by my own accord.
It's about having freedom. Freedom to choose where you want to be, who you want to be with, what you want to do for a living, how hard you want to work, who you want in your life, who you want out of your life. It's freedom. Freedom to have your life exactly like you dreamt it to be and actually make it happen. That's rich.
Rich is not just synonymous with money. Rich is synonymous with living. Life is about an expression of spirit. How can I be more artfully expressing who I am fully in a joyous way and accepting life as it comes to me without precondition?
The difference is night and day. Once you become successful, once you live a rich life, financially and every other way, you'll wonder, why didn't I do this sooner? This is not a closed club. You can have all you want anytime you want. And it's just a matter of changing your life by simply changing your mind. So the question is never can we, the question is will we? Your future hangs in the balance.
One of my favorite stories from the whole of Think and Grow Rich is the story of Edwin C. Barnes. This is a guy that had absolutely nothing and was really in a desperate place.
I love his story because he just saw one thing. Like, he had a vision for what he wanted and he would not settle.
The story goes of how he approaches Thomas Edison after traveling across the country with nothing in his pocket, literally nothing in his pocket, to go to the greatest inventor probably in history and say, I want to go into business with you.
Mr. Edison. Mr. Edison. Mr. Edison, I'm Edwin C. Barnes, your new partner.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. How do you do, sir?
Yes, how much for a ticket to Orange, New Jersey?
$16.40.
All aboard for Orange, New Jersey.
May I help you?
Yes, I'm here to meet with Mr. Edison.
Do you have an appointment?
No, but tell him that Mr. Edwin C. Barnes is here to meet with him and that I said he'll be very glad to have met me. Thank you.
No. Tell them I don't care. We are not buckling. Do whatever you have to do. So, you're the man I will be glad to have met, are you?
Yes, Mr. Edwin C. Barnes.
And what have you invented, Mr. Barnes?
Nothing, Mr. Edison.
You're not an inventor?
No, sir, I'm a businessman.
And your aim is?
To be your partner in business, sir.
You're not looking for a job?
Sir, I will take whatever job you have to offer, but my ultimate goal is to be in partnership with Mr. Thomas A. Edison.
You seem pretty sure of yourself for a man who hasn't invented anything.
I have something far more powerful.
And what might that be?
I am not interested in anything other than this one goal, and I will do whatever it takes to get it.
You know, I turn away 100 men every week.
I am not at all surprised.
And most of them have invented some darn contraption or other. Electric chicken plucker, a automatic pen refiller. That one cost me a shirt. And you stand here with nothing.
Sir, desire is not nothing.
I guess not.
I have vision. I believe it will come true one day, and I will stick by that, however long and hard the path.
I've learned over the years that when a man desires a thing so deeply that he's willing to sacrifice his entire future on a single turn of the wheel just to get it, you should never bet against that man.
So where should I start working my way up?
Tell Mr. Burroughs to start you in the stockroom.
Thank you.
No.
Demand.
No.
No market.
No.
It is not how much it costs, gentlemen. It's how much time and manpower is saved by this dictating machine.
I don't think my region's gonna go for it, Mr. Edison.
Your region is New York.
Besides, it doesn't save manpower. It saves women's time. And secretaries are 10 cents a dance.
I believe I can sell you a dictating machine, Mr. Edison.
In New York?
Every city in America. One day, every office, and every town's gonna have one of these. Time is money. When you save one, you make the other.
Even women's time?
No such thing. Time's time.
What's this?
Plans. To sell your invention.
There's a marketing plan. Barnes, I'm giving you the job of head of sales of the Edison dictating machine.
For the whole region?
For the country. I'll have him draw up a contract.
You won't regret it.
And you won't be riding any more freight trains.
As he had envisioned, Edwin C. Barnes became the business partner of Thomas Edison. Under the slogan "Built by Edison, installed by Barnes," their partnership lasted more than 30 years and made Edwin C. Barnes a very rich man. But more importantly, he proved the power of desire.
Patience is such an important commodity to have. Like, most people don't have patience. And that's because they don't have faith. They don't believe that it's going to happen or happen soon enough. And we're in a culture where we want things right now. You gotta be careful with that because that'll destroy you. You end up dabbling and you end up giving up and you end up missing out on so many amazing things that life has to offer if you give up too soon.
My eternal search is, how do I live a half-full life where every day I get up with energy? And the only way to ultimately do that is to calibrate all aspects of your life and create a life plan from love to business to security. You have to build that if you want to achieve that. And what I would consider true wealth is getting up every day and looking at the world half full.
A few years ago, I was in my office. It was around 9:30 in the evening. And I was shuffling bits of paper and wondering, who am I going to go and see for a bit of business to earn some fees to pay those bills? And the office security guard came in the building to lock up. And he just said to me, time to lock up. And I said, just give me 10 more minutes, 10 more minutes. And then he walked away and I just stood up and went to the filing cabinet and looked at a few files. Who could I call for a bit of business? And he came back again and I said, well, just give me 2 more minutes. And then in that moment, he asked me a question, and this one question changed the whole of my life. He said to me, what time did you get in this morning? I just, well, 8 o'clock, and then he walked away. But as I stood there by the filing cabinet, I realized, well, I've been up since 6, on the road at 7, in the office at 8 o'clock. It's now 10 in the evening almost. By the time I get home, it's going to be something like 11:15 at night. And I'd done that, not just today, but last week and the week before, in fact, for months, in fact, for years I've been doing that. And being absent from my family, working all these hours, getting absolutely nowhere. And in that moment, I remember standing by the filing cabinet and I grabbed the filing drawer and I just slammed it. And I said, I've had enough of this. In that moment, I had an idea. And the idea came through me. The idea said to me, what you need to do to achieve your goals is you have to set daily standards and live by those standards. Set standards from who you are, authentically from yourself, and be that person just one day at a time. What I did next was I created a sheet that had all my new standards in, you know, how I would take my kids to school in the morning and pick them up from school 3 nights a week, and no more working weekends. That's another rule, another standard. No more evening appointments for clients. And any clients that I have from this point onwards, they'd have to come and see me in the office from anywhere in the country. And also I'd go home and I would have meals with my family and I would exercise and train every single day. I even make standards around my clients, how much income they should have, the wealth that they should have, and they must be nice people. I've got my goals, but unless I'm involved and committed to my life on a daily basis, the only unit of time we really have is today, because we're here today. I was one of the worst producers in the company, although I did the most hours. I was about 1200th in terms of new business results. 3 years later, after my moment, the company's 1600 strong, and I'm 28th in the company working part-time. I'd increased my income by 10 times, working less than half the time that I used to, sticking to these standards and being my authentic self. So my life changed. We had lots of holidays, we bought another home, and we had all the trappings of life. But my real riches came in my relationships with my wife, my children. I became a better son. I became a better brother, a better friend to all those around me, and I grew rich in relationships and in love.
Well, I've been rich and I've been poor. Rich is a lot better, but rich means I don't have to change my time for someone else's money. I can do anything I want because I think it's good and pure and powerful and honorable and significant. I get to do what I want to do. So whether it's feeding people in Haiti or sending 500 kids to college or creating a nice lifestyle for myself and those people I care about, being rich is living life the way you feel you should be and having the wherewithal to do it.
The Henry Ford story totally blew me away, and I was able to read it and immediately act on it. I was great at certain things in my business, which I knew what they were, imagination. I was great at marketing. I was great at recruiting, all the outside things, but I wasn't any good at all at reading numbers or understanding finance. When I read that Henry Ford story, I immediately went out and I hired Esther Kaplan, my opposite, as my business partner. She could do financial statements, get the money from the bank, create the systems, do personnel management, all the stuff that I wasn't good at, she was great at. And if not for that story, I don't think I would have seen the light that you can always hire the attributes in the next guy that you don't have yourself and build an empire on their know-how versus your know-how. And that made me really, not only smarter, but set me free.
Not merely an ignorant idealist, but an anarchistic enemy of the nation, capable of thought, cannot see the ignominy. Get me Landers. Did you see it? It's libel. I'm going to sue the Chicago Tribune for $1 million.
On this day in 1919, the whole world was watching to see if Henry Ford could prove that his success was not by chance. The only question was, would he succeed?
Mr. Ford, is today the day? How does it feel to be the voice of the common man? Mr. Ford, what do you think, Mr. Ford?
Your Honor, since the case for libel rests on the determination as to whether what the Chicago Tribune printed was true or not, defense would like to call Henry Ford to the stand for a demonstration as to whether or not he is an ignorant man.
Very well, Mr. Ford, you will take the stand.
You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Mr. Ford, I'm going to ask you a few simple questions to determine whether or not you're an ignorant man. How much schooling do you have?
I went to grammar school to the age of 16 when I quit to become a mechanic in a machine shop. That turned out to be a considerably more useful education for the work I would become famous for.
Can you tell me how many soldiers the British sent to America to put down the rebellion of 1776?
Well, I don't know the exact amount, but I heard it was considerably larger than ever went back.
Who was Secretary of State under James Madison?
I myself was not alive in 1811. And even if I was, I don't see how that particular tidbit would help me run my business. How many people in this courtroom know the answer
Your Honor,
to that
I
question?
object. The witness is not permitted to question the public.
Nobody? Doesn't surprise me. And how many of you good people got a college education?
Your Honor.
I suggest you try to get your money back on that, since the Chicago Tribune could write that you're ignorant on the front page of their newspaper and try to get away with proving it.
Mr. Ford, would you please confine yourself to answering the question?
Well, can you repeat the question?
Who was Secretary of State under James Madison?
Well, I can answer that at once. The answer is, I do not know. Off the record, Judge, you know the answer to that one.
Off the record, no.
And you got at least 2 college degrees.
I have 3 university degrees.
Well, it seems like a pretty silly way to measure intelligence. I can maybe save us all a little time here, gentlemen. As you know, I am one of the most successful manufacturers in this country. Folks drive my cars in every city in America, and they outnumber all the other types of cars by a big margin. I raised the wages of my workers to $5 per day. Ever heard of anybody else doing that? If I don't choose to clutter up my brain with general facts and tidbits of historical knowledge, well, I don't have to. As I have a row of electric buttons on my desk, I can push any one and have at my elbow an expert in every branch of knowledge who are on my payroll. Does that sound ignorant to you?
The witness is trying to take over this trial again, Your Honor. I move that he be found in contempt of this court.
Motion denied, Mr. Jensen. I think we're about finished here.
I am almost finished here, Judge. I want to ask one last question. Do you think an ignorant hick tripped in a junkyard and accidentally invented the internal combustion engine-powered automobile? If you think that, I suggest you try making one at home from scratch. Then we'll compare it to my creation and see whose looks like it was made by an ignorant man incapable of thought.
Through the assistance of his mastermind group, Henry Ford had at his command all the specialized knowledge he needed to enable him to become one of the most accomplished people in the world.
The court finds in favor of the plaintiff, the Honorable Henry Ford. I drive one of your automobiles myself, Mr. Ford. Damn fine piece of machinery.
People think that you have to be brilliant in every aspect in business and life or whatever it is to be successful. I believe that we all have strengths and we all have weaknesses, but you really need to foster your strengths, whatever your weaknesses are, that you surround yourself with those types of people. Henry Ford created a mastermind alliance, and that's what you have to do.
Everything we see in the world that was created by man was first created in his mind. It's like Van Gogh said, I dream my painting, and then I paint my dream. We have to understand that whatever Rembrandt or Van Gogh used, we have available to us.
This book changed my life. It was August 18, 2006. I'd been practicing law, and a friend invited me to a management seminar. And I remember arriving on the Friday night, and I'm in the seminar room, and it was such a transformative evening that I could tell you exactly where I was sitting. I could tell you what I was wearing, and I could tell you what the speaker that came out on stage was wearing and what he was saying. And, well, it was Bob Proctor. And he had the book, Think and Grow Rich. And he was talking about the lessons he had learned. At that time, I guess it was about over 45 years. He's now been studying the book for 55 years. He said, most people tiptoe through life, hoping to make it safely to death. I thought, wow, what a concept, because when we're born, we're risk takers. We're just naturally risk takers. We want to get up there, we want to walk around, we want to, learn to run and learn to do things. And then as we grow older, we're taught to play it safe, stay in the comfort zone. And he quoted Bill Gove saying, if I want to be free, I got to be me. Not the me I think you think I should be, not the me I think my wife thinks I should be, not the me I think my kids think I should be. If I want to be free, I got to be me. And I better know who me is. And I remember it was like a bucket of ice poured over my head, and I thought, oh my God, am I living the life I'm meant to live? And he kept saying, what do you want? What do you really want? And something inside of me woke up, and it was like, there is a greater purpose for me. I'm physically in the seminar room, but my mind is flashing through the boardrooms and executive offices. And I started to see this program. I started to see the design of the program, what it would be called, Thinking into Results. I could see it on a Fortune 50 executives bookshelf, and I could see the executives coming up to me and saying what a big impact it had on their life and their family's life and their entire company and community. And I remember walking out of the seminar room on the Sunday evening, turning around and literally talking to the seminar room, and I said, I don't know how, but I'm gonna do this.
Babe Ruth, everybody knows he had the record for the most home runs, but he also did well in the strikeouts. One time he was asked by a sports reporter, said, Babe, what do you think about when that pitcher strikes it out? He said, I'm starting to feel sorry for the next one I face because it's time for another home run. So he didn't concentrate on the strikeouts because often he'd strike out several times in one game. But he also, a lot of games, he hit a home run with somebody on base and won the ball game. So only the success is what counts. But we can lose focus by counting on where we didn't succeed and not enjoy and progress on what's been successful for us.
When I first saw the book Think and Grow Rich, it reminded me when I told my mom at 16, I'm gonna get rich. The mentality that really makes the difference is action. It's not intelligence, it's not connections, it is action. I've never thought I was limited to this. the cranium or 5'8", or a body. He was really confronting the spiritual being, not the physical body. Thought is not a physical thing. It's out here, right? I've just been lucky enough since the age of 25 to be interested in my personal development and getting rid of limited thinking so I could have and create and move toward abundance and prosperity and freedom, real freedom. You're free if you create freedom for yourself. And that first starts with the ability to think freely.
So people always ask me, is there a way to change a negative thought to a positive thought? And the answer is no. You're out of luck. You can't do that. The only way you can change a negative thought is with a positive affirmation, when you say your goals out loud. So the moment I have a negative thought, I say my goals out loud, and then the negative thought goes away.
Mary Kim Titla, who is the National Executive Director of United National Indian Tribal Youth, she and I have worked together with Native youth now for 20 years. And a few years ago, she said, would you come and speak to my son Bear's 8th grade football team? Because they're getting killed, they're getting demoralized. They lost 48-0 yesterday, they lost 38-0 last week, 28-10 the week before, it keeps getting worse. I said, sure, and I drove down, it's about an hour and a half. It's literally the land of Geronimo. That's where he's from. And I simply said to them, you know, you're in 8th grade, but I'm gonna tell you something that will help you the rest of your lives that is just as important and just as true for you as it is for NFL players, which is the only thing you have to do right now is to use all of your focus and bring all of your passion. It may sound simple. That's all you have to do for the next 2 hours, because there's so many players that have more speed, more talent, more physical ability that never make it in the NFL because they never learned that. For the next 2 hours, I challenge you to do that. In the first 11 plays, and I have witnesses to this, they scored 3 touchdowns. They won the rest of their games. Mary Kim told me they didn't lose another game. And then 3 months later, she calls me up and she says, 16 of those 22 young people are on the basketball team, including my son Bear, the quarterback, and they just finished the regular season undefeated. Now, that wasn't my power. It was simply helping them see the power they had.
Well, my story starts as a young man. At age 17, my biggest ambition was to be an All-American football player and then go into the NFL and hopefully play for the beloved Dallas Cowboys. And the coaches and the scouts and the people that monitor those sorts of things kind of assured me I had the size and speed to do that. And I thought my future was set. Then one day, during a routine physical to go play another season of football, I was diagnosed with the condition that would cause me to lose my sight. 10 years later, I was totally blind, and I woke up that morning. I instantly knew I'd lost the remainder of my sight, and I knew I would live the rest of my life as a blind person, and the thoughts and the doubts and the fears that came over me would be impossible to describe. I was 29 years old. I had never met a blind person. I didn't have a clue what I was going to do with the rest of my life. So the only plan I could come up with involved moving into this little 9 by 12 foot room in the back of my house. And in my little room, I had my radio and my telephone and my tape recorder. And I really fully intended to never leave that room again. The thought of traveling millions of miles and talking to millions of people, or writing 30 books and having 6 of them made into movies, or doing speeches, or running a television network with over 1,000 stations, or doing this movie project would have seemed as foreign to me as going to the moon. So I sat in my little 9 by 12 foot self-imposed prison, and I never thought I would leave that room again. And I sat there broke and despondent and depressed and suicidal. I thought of that. I remember they brought me a white cane, and they said, Jim, this will never be away from your side. You'll never have a job. People won't like you. Women won't want to hang around with you. Men won't put up with you. You're never going to make money. You'll need to get on relief or welfare. And this cane will never be more than a few feet away from you until you die. And I sat that cane on one side of my chair. And on the other side of my chair were tapes that people had given me of Think and Grow Rich and other great books. And I realized there's not much I can do sitting in this little room, broke and scared. I can't even get out of this little room, but I can think. And the whole world changed because I changed my life when I changed my mind. Sitting in that little room, Because on one side was the white king, and on the other side was a voice telling me pure, powerful, positive possibility. And I realized somebody's lying to me. And I figured I'd rather die believing in possibility than live believing that we're all here to be poor.
Well, some people don't believe in the law of attraction, but I've proven